Hey y'all, welcome into Cliffside Bay. Hope everybody is good. And as you can see here, this is the vanilla cinematic camera. And not only is this the vanilla cinematic camera, this is actually showing you the cinematics for my Cliffside Bay, the City of Unlocks, the original version, which looks like this. There we go. So this is Cliffside Bay before I started converting it. So what I thought I'd do today is going to be an unscripted kind of walkthrough to how I got from this point here to how you see it in my very last ever video where it's actually completed, that kind of thing. I thought I'd kind of do a little cinematic and walkthrough, show people, especially for those who've never seen any of my videos, just to show you what my city looks like and what I did and that kind of thing. So it's going to be a long, kind of relaxing walk and talk through, that kind of thing. So as you can see, this is the original city. And as you can see, it is a bit of a mess. Look at that. That's kind of crazy. And all the traffic is absolutely crazy as well. Look at the traffic here. Absolutely crazy. So as you can see, Cliffside Bay looked like that. It's a bit of a mess, but the whole reason behind that was Cliffside Bay was originally only intended for me to use as a kind of a layout to get all the unique buildings, as you can see here, and landmarks unlocked in as quick a time as possible. And as you can see, got them all unlocked. But as you can also see, I've only got one or two placed down. So yeah, this is why this is like this. It was all for the intention of getting the unlocks as part of a challenge, which is why everything looks like this. And my final unlock, which was the Eiffel Tower, led me to creating this monster here. So you had to get about 30,000 industrial buildings, I think. Let me go and have a little check on that. Unique buildings, here we go. Eiffel Tower's down here somewhere. Here it is, there we go. 30,000 squares of industrial zone built. Which is why I had to obliterate my city and lay out as much industrial zone as I could. As you can see, kind of here, the yellow little bits. Let me go onto marquee. That's better, there we go. It looks like that. So this is why my city is like that. And I thought to myself, well, I can't leave Cliffside Bay like this, can I? Go back to those cinematics. There we go, lovely. So yeah, I can't leave Cliffside Bay like that, especially as there's one glaring omission, something that I've never done in real life, in the game that is. And that is, let's go back into here. I'd never unlocked a single monument. And as of this game save, as you can see right here, I still have not unlocked a single monument. So there you go. So my intention was to unlock every single monument, but to do that, monuments, there you go. To do that, you got to place down every single unlock. So the good thing is I've got all the unlocks now unlocked. So that's kind of cool. But now I got to find the space, or at least a way of where to put these kind of unique buildings and landmarks. So I thought, what I'm going to do, I'm going to convert Cliffside Bay into a proper, more realistic looking kind of town, that kind of thing. And as you can see, I've already started with little areas like this. This is Turnwater. This is based in a real location in Seattle, Washington. Get out of this view, there we go, and back into this view, there we go. So you can see there's a few experiments that I've been working on, like this hilltop town. Little experiment. All my little experiments are going to be for future builds when I do it properly. Another little experiment is over here. I think it's Step Industries. Here it is. Look at that. Kind of crazy. And as you can see, I got my wacky interchange. You ignore the gimmicky design, which I thought was a little bit of fun. The interchange is absolutely beautiful. And of course, I invented this kind of layout. But yeah, this is Cliffside Bay originally. And it looks, crazy, doesn't it? Looks crazy. Oh, by the way, let me look at the traffic. Traffic is at the moment 60. Wow, that is bad. So yeah, I definitely got to do something with the traffic, that kind of thing. So yeah, my intention is to update this whole city and somehow squeeze in all those unique buildings and landmarks. And I'm going to show you how I did that right now. There you go. That was a whole bunch of exciting cinematics, wasn't it? But yeah, here you go. This is Cliffside Bay fully converted. I guess that's what you call it, fully converted. Looks like it's fully converted to me. Kind of cool. Looks like that. Absolutely beautiful. So let's go for a long kind of walk and talk as we look around the whole city, especially for those that never watched the series and just want to see what the city looks like. Oh, coincidentally, this whole city, I'm going to try and put up on the Steam Workshop so people can look at and play with and tweak around, that kind of thing. I'm hoping I can set it up so it works in good order for everybody on there, but this is what it looks like right now. So let's take a closer, longer, deeper look into my city, shall we? So where should we start off? Let's start off here. Okay. So I got quite a few wind turbine farms. I got one there. I got one there. I think I've got another one over here somewhere. One, two, there's one. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I got 4 of them, but let's start off with this one. This one is called the Octopus. It's called the Octopus because that looks like an octopus. That's his head, and that would be his kind of arms, I guess. And this doubles up as, not only is this a service road, but it could also be a hiker's path. There you go. And this kind of little shelter here could be like a hiking shelter, or it could be a work shelter. So there you go. That's the Octopus. And that is part of what this area is here, which is rural living. So what I wanted to do was have a natural progression from downtown to Midtown to the outskirts and then into rural living. And that's the whole idea behind all this build here. And also, as you can see, as part of the rural living, I put in this interchange. Now, these interchanges in my whole city, like this one here and this one kind of here. And these are all based on proper interchanges you'll find all around the state, especially ones in Arizona and Washington state, which is what I base these upon. Now, there are a few differences that I created on my own, like this one here and this one here. These are my own versions. And even my 4 stack is an odd one, which is my own version. And of course, the Fox interchange, as you can see right here. If you take away the gimmicky design, it's a pretty beautiful working interchange. All done vanilla, of course, no mods. It was kind of cool. So yeah, back to here. So yeah, this is all to do with rural living. And if you remember down here where my main industrial area was, I had a forestry industry and a farm, and I've kind of moved them over here. So let's take a close look, shall we? As you can see, the cool thing about this interchange is it has a rail network running right through it. And to give it stability, the foundations are cemented with these huge stones, and this embankment is pretty cool. Makes it look kind of realistic and authentic. If we move along here, as you can see, lots of detailing. Subway, which is working and being used. And then one of my many cargo train hubs as we got here. This is working really well. The traffic flow is pretty cool. And this is where I put my ore industry, as you can see here. Now, originally it was a few little ore buildings, but now I've made it into a quarry, and it looks like that. It's pretty cool. And if we slowly scroll along here, you'll come across my forestry industry. Now, if you remember the original city, it looked almost exactly the same as that. But now I've just moved it here. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. I like these little kind of footbridges I put here, by the way. They're kind of cool. So there you go. That's the forestry industry, and that's working really well. And it's not really that busy. Put a cemetery on the hill just here. And even though these are cemeteries, I think of them more as churches. So that looks like that. And as you can see, a little bit of rural living. These little buildings around here. That's kind of cool. You got a school. A few more buildings here and there. That's pretty cool. One of my detailed traffic circles. And moving over here, you can see one of my rural little communities. And while you look around my town, you'll occasionally spot lots of little detailing creations I've made, like these pretend ponds. I always put these in my cities. You'll obviously find me putting in a lot of seating arrangements and little parks. So keep your eyes out when we walk around and see if you can spot them. So yeah, moving on, we're carrying on with the rural living. As you can see, I placed a lot of forestry industries along this section here. So all these are kind of forestry businesses. Pretty cool. I do like my bridge, my train bridge going over the road. Kind of cool. And here comes a train. That's kind of cool. Right on cue. So yeah, lots of forestry industries around this stretch here. This is obviously a plantation industry. And then keeping with the rural vibe, this is where I've put in my farm. Now this is a multi-purpose farm. So it's crops and cattle. And it looks like that. Pretty cool. Put in a lot of these gravel paths to pretend these are kind of plowed fields. So I kind of like that. And this is actually inspired by my own personal life because I was born and raised on a ranch, a cattle ranch. So we do cattle drives, that kind of thing. So my inspiration for this comes from my real life. And as you can see, this is where all the livestock is, the cattle. And it's, of course, it's vanilla. I know the DLC, you get better farms, I think, something like that. And here's the cool feature of my farm is not only have I got another of those pretend ponds, I said keep your eyes open. I've created this kind of a little miniature orchard, but this is a beekeeping. If you use your imagination, these are no longer garbage cans. These are actually beehives. This is a little orchard, and this is where they collect and make honey. So it's kind of cool. So there you go. That is rural living. Looks like that. It's kind of pretty and neato. Kind of pleased with that. Let's move on to the next section. So over here is one of my experimental designs. If you remember, all my experiments are exactly what they are, experiments to be used later on. But this is Step Industries. I wanted to come up with an idea of seeing if I could build an industry on a hill, and I came up with this kind of step design where you kind of have one layer, then you move up a step and another layer, kind of like that. And from the ground it looks like that, so it looks kind of cool. And as you can see, I've done my usual trick of putting in different zones to get different buildings. As you can see, these are farming buildings. Actually, all of these are. These are forestry buildings. You can see there, and then these are all generic ones. So it's kind of cool. Bit of a neat experimental design. And then I decided to kind of keep it here, then add to it. And as you can see, we got this a vanilla kind of factory. Can you go in there? I'm not too sure. Oh, you can? Okay, interesting. A little bit tricky with the camera. There you go, got a little piece of debris in there. That's kind of cool. Is there anything in there? But that, never knew that was in there. That's kind of cool. So there we go. So we got this vanilla asset that was part of the map. So what I did is I came up with this little chocolate box Willy Wonka factory design. These are the vanilla generic industrial buildings. They're kind of ugly, but I thought I'd keep a few of them. And I put them just next to this. It kind of ties in really well. It looks pretty good. Then moving up here, you got a little piece of office work. Kind of crazy path designs, because it's kind of hard to get this to be level. So I put in my power plant. Obviously, it's inspired by The Simpsons. As you can see there. And then I put in one of these. This track leads up to the Hobbiton wind farms. This is based upon one of my designs in Blackwoods. It's rolling hills. You imagine hobbits live under here. But yeah, this is my Hobbiton one. All these trees, there's millions of these. This would take me roughly, every time I did detailing, it would take me between 1 to 4 hours. All the trees are individually placed down. As you can see, I would do, this is my technique, my trick. I'd go to the list of trees, I'd get the first tree, then I'd place it down. And I'd properly go, I show it, this little section, I'd go like this all the time. Fast as I could, just placing them down randomly. And then I'd move on to the next tree, do the same thing here. And then I'd carry on with the next trees like that. Not only that, I'd make a bit of a theme, so this would be a forestry kind of area. And then over there, I've gone more tropical, but we'll see that later. So yeah, this took hours and hours to do. But it looks like that, it's pretty cool. Got a little piece of industry here. Looks like that. So absolutely pleased with that. And as you can see, this is my gimmicky Fox Interchange, which works absolutely perfectly. There you go. And also part of Step Industries is where I put in my other farm, as you can see kind of here. So, oh, I've also got an abandoned building. I forgot about that. I kept that there. So I put in this forestry industry building here, which looks pretty cool. Kind of fits in really well. And then it moves into this kind of farming little place I got here. So, and as you can see, I got another orchard. So pretty cool little design, another pretty cool detailed traffic circle. Now, unfortunately, the traffic AI is not the best, so yeah, it looks super busy, but it's flowing, it is flowing, it's just the traffic AI is absolutely silly, isn't it? For some reason, there you go, like this truck here is going to stop here for no reason. And I kind of got rid of the problem with people crossing by putting this unique footbridge right here. It looks like that. So that was my Step Industries, I guess. Which leads us to the University City, which is all this area here. So from the traffic circle we got here all the way to this interchange. So this kind of area here, this is my University City. It was based upon me putting in a educational center and then filling it up with high density buildings and then a few little suburbs, a few little cul-de-sac suburbs. So let's take a closer look at that. And don't forget to keep your eyes open for any little creative parks I put in. So yeah, this is University City. It looks like that. It's kind of cool. I love this road all the way through here, this avenue. So it's pretty cool. And if we look into this view here, you can see the zoning. As you can see, a whole bunch of offices. Let's go into Marquee, thank you. And a whole bunch of high density residential, more offices, and more offices around the educational center. And as you can see, there's got quite a lot of stores. Kind of cool. And this is the other university here. So let's take a closer look. So this is the first university, which looks like that. It's pretty cool. Nicely detailed. One of my many seating arrangements I've come up with. And the bus service is being well used. There you go. That's pretty cool. And as you can see, I put in this crazy footbridge here, which is getting heavily used to help with the traffic. Unfortunately, because it's vanilla, I can't do anything about these tree placements, so some of them will clip through here and here, but I'll just leave it like that. I'm not going to play around with them because I'm kind of happy with that. Looks like that. So yeah, this is a little bit of a hustling, bustling commercial and residential area just for the students that go to learn here. So maybe this is a part of a student town. Then we got this shopping area here, more crazy footbridges, which kind of work. I made these ones kind of like this because it helps with the traffic. So this is all pretty much the same. And this is one of the things to look out for. All my stores got their own unique kind of layout and design. As you can see, no two store looks the same, which is exactly the same for all my subways. As you can see here, no two subways look the same. Every subway is laid out differently. So that one looks like that. There we go. So let's get back to where we were. So yeah, as you can see, this is University City. That's what it looks like from above. Like I said, keep your eyes out for me putting in any little parks like we got here. This is a little market. Looks pretty cool. And then the whole inspiration for this whole university kind of city was for me to come up with a bit of an education center, as you can see here. So this is the design. It's kind of cool. I really wanted to have this as a big kind of hustling, bustling part of the city, but yeah, I was kind of limited for space, so I kind of put it here. And as you can see, you got a beautiful working subway. Some bus lines are being heavily used as per usual, and as I said, every subway is laid out differently. And as you can see, it's a lot of repetition. We got the university here, we got a library, we got a couple of tennis centers, and as you can see, I've made these unique kind of bleachers, which are picnic benches with hedges at the back. So if you use your imagination, you can pretend these are bleachers. And then we got a couple of basketball arenas, almost the same, and this is this is the entrance and exit. Little eatery, that kind of thing. So it's kind of a neato little educational block. Got a kindergarten here. And the other one on the other side kind of mirrors it. More beautiful little garden designs and 10 ponds, that kind of thing. So there we go. That was the whole inspiration behind the University City, and I really do like this kind of avenue. Can we go up and down here? I'm not too sure. Let me see if we can do that. Without using my first-person camera mod. So it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Here we go, let's stop it right about here. This is where I put in one of my fancy designs, as you can see here. Another beautiful little park with another beautiful little pretend pond. And then yet again, another unique subway design. Pretty cool, I like this one. I like the way I've done that with the road. It's kind of unique. So there you go, that is University City. It looks like that. Lots of crazy pathing networks to help. Definitely on a gridded format, and it's got a few interchanges that really help with the traffic. This is one of the busiest spots in the whole city. And even though it's absolutely crazy busy because the traffic AI makes it that way, it's flowing. None of it is in a jam, so everything flows. And that looks like that. Pretty cool, isn't it? So let's move back over to rural living. Now, if you remember, this is supposed to be a natural progression from the city into the rural living area. And this kind of little area here is supposed to be the intermediate area between downtown and rural living. Here is where I originally had the huge industrial center, and as you can see, it's pretty much still here, but it's completely ripped apart and redone. And the key to making this work was to put in or implement some beautiful working interchanges, as you can see here. And as per usual with me, I've detailed the heck out of them. So yeah, these are all the industries. This is mainly generic industry, as you can see here. Everything is working. They got one or two connections to the main highways, which is always key. As you can see here. Pretty cool. Lots of little pathing walkways and tunnels. There's a tunnel here. Not too sure where that comes out. Oh, it comes out here. There you go. So yeah, this is the industry. Kind of generic looking, really. What I wanted to do is have this kind of area over here more kind of industrial, like an industrial revolution kind of theme. And that's kind of what I did. So yeah, more generic industry over here and office work. And here is where I began my industrial revolution. I wanted it to be like one of those old kind of style kind of cities like London, which is where the industrial revolution began, I think. It looks like that. It's pretty cool. I am not too sure if I want this building here or not. An interesting building. Okay, I'll keep it there. I'll keep it there for now. But yeah, this is my industrial revolution build. This is Dean's Dip, named after one of my viewers. So yet again, another transport hub. All of this works. Now this has got a whole bunch of trains. We got train lines here. We got road networks. We got a subway here. Road networks and everything works. It's absolutely beautiful. If you look under here, it's a whole spaghetti. And I'll tell you why I did that later on down the line. But as you can see, this is the Dean's Dip industrial kind of hub. And what I wanted to do to make this look absolutely beautiful and more authentic is I want to have an industrial kind of bridge over the rail networks and the industry. So it looks pretty cool. And then moving along here, more office kind of work and crazy pathing. And then eventually it peters out into generic industry and then into rural living. As you can see here, a little community I put on the hills. With these solid foundation brickwork kind of stone walls, which are pretty cool. And this stretches all the way along here. Yet again, one of my Batan ponds. This is my Stepwood Wives little community here. And this stretches all the way along here, as you can see, and then it flows out into this huge build here. So the inspiration or the idea behind this crazy, wacky build was to come up with something kind of industrial looking and turn it into an industrial park, if not an industrial museum, so which is why I put down all these little train tracks here. So you use your imagination, you got Batan trains on top of these. But I can't put a train on top of these, which is unfortunate. If I could, I would, but I can't. So you can imagine this is a bit of a transportation, industrial, museum, and park, which is why we got the Statue of Industry here. And we got rails running over rails. We've also got the Arc de Triomphe. We got the second train station there. We got the Olympic Stadium. And we got the business park here, which I like to call an arch. Which they all kind of run in line. If you just about get it right, they all line up correctly. Which is pretty cool. Oh, let me pause the gamers. So as you can see, I got a whole bunch of... Oh, this is perfect. So what I wanted to do was have trains running around this kind of industrial looking build and have trains running over the top of other trains, that kind of thing. But as you can see, the train lines are working. Let's watch this play. Pretty cool. And it's really cool when you get trains running over the top of other trains. It looks pretty spectacular. And the only way I could achieve that to get trains running all around here was to do a whole bunch of spaghetti underneath. So let's take a look, shall we? Now, if you saw my last episode, you could see how I did all this. And it's absolutely crazy, but yeah, it works. It works. And let's come out of that view there. We got another train going over the top, which is pretty cool. So there you go. That's my industrial build with a complicated spaghetti network of travel underneath it. And it works really well. And as you can see, a lot of detailing went into this industrial kind of park or museum. Pretty cool. They have a train. I love looking at the trains going up and down here, especially these ones. Wanna follow this train? Give it a go, shall we? There you go, that's pretty cool. And obviously it's going to go underground, as you can see just there. Absolutely beautiful, tricky build, but I think I came up with something absolutely beautiful. I do like the way I've set up these roads as well. They're kind of unique, kind of cool. I did that so I could get them to clear over the train tunnels, because the collision factor is a pain in the keister. As you can see, we got a working train station here. There's not many people that use the train service, but I kept it here because I wanted it to look like a real city. And it looks pretty cool, and it kind of works really well by having the Olympic Park here. And this is the Olympic Park, as you can see here. Another subway design, buses are being used, and as you can see, these are my pretend parking lots. If you watch my series, you can see how I do all my tricks, like putting key walls inland, which I'm famous for. But that looks like that. It's pretty cool. Got these raised gardens. This is the basketball arena. This is the tennis arena. Pretty cool. Let's go back into that view. Pretty cool. This is the Olympic Stadium. I kind of designed the gardens based upon the design of the actual building, which is why this looks like this. Pretty cool. And then obviously this is the ideal place to put the business park, and it looks like that. It's pretty cool, pretty spectacular. So let's move back over here. So as you can see here, I got quite a few little toll booths. Now this was a godsend at the beginning of the game because I was struggling for money, so I put 3 of these down. So we got this one here, slap bang in the industrial center. I got one right over at the entrance of the city, which is... here it is. Completely forgot about that. So that's kind of cool. And then the other one is to the actual entrance of the main city, which is... where's the Eiffel Tower? There it is. So it's going to be here. So there you go. Not only did that bring a whole bunch of money, but that kind of slowed the traffic down, so it makes it kind of easier on traffic as it enters into this interchange here, because the traffic is slowed down. It's pretty cool. But as you can see, what I started doing was implementing different designs of industry. So as you can see here, this is a farmer's market, this whole design, or this is a kind of a farmer's market. And I thought it was kind of a bit of a spectacular, if not very cool build. As you can see, I've used a farming industry to get out all these little sheds. So it looks pretty cool. And then this is part of the farmer's market. As you can see, I put in a few little markers. You can use your imagination. This is where they buy plants. And whatever it is they buy here, I'll leave that up to your imagination. This is a cool little market here as well. Here you can buy and trade livestock. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool, so I'm very pleased with that. And obviously you can see in the background my Magical Botanical. Now this is one of the craziest, wackiest builds I've ever done. And it's absolutely beautiful, but unfortunately because of the YouTube algorithms, nobody saw it. It's a bit of a shame because it's absolutely beautiful. Now, if you use your imagination, all of this was kind of a bit of an Amazon forest build. But in the end, I decided to put water over the top because I really wanted to have a way of getting to these floating islands, but I wanted to get there via a boat. I decided to sink all the trees underwater. So from above, it would have looked a little bit like... but it would look like this. The whole of this area would have looked like this. Would have been pretty cool, like an Amazon canyon kind of thing. But I've decided to turn it into a bit of a water botanical park, and it looks pretty spectacular. And as you can see, more use of my key walls. I decided to turn them into a kind of a garden wall feature. There we go. So you got to use a lot of imagination. So each of these islands were representing different parts of the world. Although I can't do that because I don't have the mods or assets. You use your imagination. These could be gardens from around the world. I've also done a little cool technique here with the picnic benches, turned them into wooden steps, that kind of thing. And I always like putting the ground cover over the rocks because it kind of looks like seaweed. So there you go. This is like the children's part of the gardens. Pretty cool. Up here is one of my unique designs. Over here is this is a kind of an ancient historical garden, or maybe a Middle Eastern garden. The inspiration for these raised kind of platforms, which are actually footbridges, but you could pretend they're viewing platforms, the inspiration was garnered from a build I did over there. But yeah, this is kind of cool. I like this. This is a pretty little garden. I like the humpback bridge, which is kind of cool. Oh, pretty cool, isn't it? And then obviously the main botanical garden, I put in this maze, which is also pretty cool. Now, if you pause this and trace your finger or your cursor or whatever you want to use, this is an actual proper working maze. It took me a long time to work this out. But it looks like that, and the center of the maze is not really the center, because what it is the entrance to, oh, my camera, is the entrance to the magical garden we got over there. So it's pretty cool. So there you go, that was Magical Botanical. Absolutely beautiful build, but nobody watched it. Bit of a shame. So let's spin around and whiz over here to where I've got the Olympic Stadium. So this whole build here, I was kind of struggling with what to put here until I put in the Creators Library, as you can see right here. This is the Creators Library. Now this I put here on accident because the incorrect wording from Colossal Order of unlocking one of the buildings, you had to place down 5 instances of the Creators Library, but they worded it wrong because all you have to do is put down 5 instances of any library, which is why I put this down. So really, this shouldn't really be part of the city because I'm only using the original vanilla buildings. But yeah, I thought I'd leave it there. And because I put it on this hill here, started putting tunnels through that, it inspired me to come up with the entirety of this kind of area here, which is why I got the Olympic Park here, and the arch, that kind of thing. So it's pretty cool, and as you can see, I got this winding path that goes all the way down here and then hooks into the industrial park, which is pretty spectacular. Pretty cool walk. I'm not too sure if I can I, let me pause the game. Can I click on somebody? Let's follow you. As you can see, you got a few little clipping issues, but I can't help that. But yeah, this is a spectacular walk. Excuse me, ma'am. Isn't that spectacular? And I didn't know that the path in network carries on through to the Creators Library, which is kind of cool. Actually, I've never walked through here. Let's see what happens. There we go. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I guess you're visiting this building, so let's get out of here. Probably enjoyed that. That was kind of awesome. And as you can see, I came up with one of my little designs. Now, this was inspired by my Up Park, which was inspired by the movie Up. So that looks like that. That's pretty cool. So let's move back over to, if you remember, the wind turbine hangout. Now, if you follow this like road, this long winding road, goes all the way through here, through this kind of canyon. It's kind of spectacular and kind of awesome. Can't quite control my camera, but maybe if I follow a car, let me see if I can follow a car. Let's follow this car here. There we go. So yeah, so we got this beautiful little forest drive through the valley, up the hills, through the mountains. It's kind of beautiful. And I'm going to stop as soon as I get to this path just here. There we go. So yeah, this path takes you all along the hilltop to where we got this ancient monument kind of place of national heritage, I guess, a national heritage site, something like that. Looks like that. It's kind of based on Stonehenge. Well, of course it is. And this is probably a visitor center, something like that. I guess for my city, you really do have to use your imagination. But yeah, it looks like that. Pretty spectacular view of the city from there. And these hills roll all the way along here, as you can see, and they go all the way up to the observatory. Another little unique design, and this has got a glorious view of the city. Pretty cool. And I did a little trick of hiding the power plant behind there, as you can see here. And that was my way of getting power to this building without having to put all those huge power lines, and it works pretty well, and you wouldn't even know there's a power plant there, would you? A neat old trick, I thought. There you go, so that is well used and it's pretty cool. And as you can see, this path in network leads down to one of my hilltop communities, and this road winds down to the hilltop community as well. You follow that along, they both kind of meet up to this hilltop community, which is pretty cool. My whole idea for these hilltop communities were to have them as maybe some of the rich properties, and then some of the properties are not so rich. So what I really wanted to do was have some kind of mountain living, but idealistic mountain living. And the people that live here got a beautiful view of the Olympic Park, so that's pretty cool. And obviously you can see I did a few little garden designs. I got this one here. And the person who lives in this property is probably one of the richest people here. So that's kind of neato. And if you look here into this view here, you can see that I based these on the mountain theme. So this is now called a mountain rescue service. And moving over here, similarly, I've done a thing with the building. Where is it? It's here somewhere. Here it is. This is the one. This is no longer a police department. This is now a ranger station. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But there you go. Idealistic mountain living. And obviously is carrying with the theme of my industrial networks are going under tunnels and things like that. This train track splits into two, and it leads to my only other train station, as you can see right down here, which is the beach station, which is another pretty spectacular build, I think. Both stations work. And as you can see, I came up with this neato idea to have these raised platforms. Sadly, you can't use these as proper, legitimate platforms because it just doesn't work that way. But yeah, you got to use your imagination for that. But I think it's a pretty beautiful, spectacular build. Everything is working. The bus service is working. We got the beautiful, busy subways. Just like I said, both stations are being used, as you can see here. Like I always say, the key to a proper working, vibrant city is to have lots of decent having networks. See here. Then this kind of stretches onto this kind of seafront plaza, I guess, or promenade, which is pretty cool. Came up with this little garden design here. And here you can see where I got the inspiration for my botanical garden with the raised platform. I came up with this kind of footbridge here, which is kind of cool. It's my mini archipelago design. Pretty spectacular. This is the rest of the Plaza Promenade, I guess. Pretty cool. Unfortunately, I don't have any beach assets, so no beach umbrellas, nobody playing frisbee, nobody's walking the dog, which is a bit of a shame. No kite flying. So I just came up with this little design here. The only thing I could put on here. But yeah, this is the main and only beach of Cliffside Bay. And it looks like that. It's pretty spectacular. Beautiful little place. So moving on from there, we've got downtown. So all of this is downtown. Originally this was downtown, and it's still downtown. This is kind of Midtown, I guess. This is downtown, old downtown, and this is new downtown. So let's take a look at old downtown. So this was always here, but I ripped it apart because I was going to put down lots of unique buildings, and I decided to make this into old downtown because all these old downtown looking buildings kind of fit in together really well. As you can see, we got the department store there, we got the Grand Central Terminal, we got the Winter Market, and we got the government offices, and they all kind of fit in really neato. But as you can see, old downtown as well as new downtown is full of nothing but high-density residential, high-density commercial, office buildings, and low-density commercial. So it's pretty cool, pretty cool. Looks like a proper European downtown, or old downtown, although I'm not really sure because I don't live in Europe. So there we go, we got this beautiful avenue here. And obviously wherever I could, I would place down detailing like I did with this hospital here. Pretty cool. I like the way the street pops in from there. Another unique kind of interchange kind of design. Pretty cool. And as per usual, like I said, I always slip in some parks, and I got a secret garden just here, there. Secret garden. Kind of cool. So yeah, there you go. That's all downtown. Pretty spectacular. Obviously, this is my downtown interchange park. Pretty cool. And then we move into a new downtown. Now, I call this new downtown because I put in lots of the kind of, modern looking buildings. Let's put it that way. Now, each of these buildings are placed deliberately so you can see them from all angles. We'll slow pan around here. And as you can see here with the courthouse, it's got all these kind of little different angles. And I came up with a neat trick to somehow place this at an angle and then have the entrance like this. And it kind of works out really well. It kind of fits in a lot better like that than it would if it was kind of straight against the edge of the road there. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. A beautiful little design. Piece of genius by me, of course. So as you'll probably recognize, the final design and look and feel of the place is all based upon where I could put these individual unique buildings and landmarks, which is why a lot of the city was changed and then ended up looking like this, and it's absolutely spectacular. So there you go, that was my new downtown. This is the original school and kindergarten I placed here. That's pretty cool, with one of my original subways. And of course, a different design. And of course, being used by millions of people. And then moving away from downtown, we get to maybe Midtown, where I've made the, well, this is Midtown, this little area here. Pretty much the same, although I put in this big park here and then one of these buildings here, which is, what is this one called? Well, this one's called the Hypermarket. There we go. So it's a bit of a Midtown kind of vibe about this place here. And one of my original crazy pathing networks. Although the street is not as busy as it used to be, so this is unnecessary, but I thought I'd leave it in because it looks kind of cool. But yeah, this kind of merges into what is the Eiffel Tower Interchange, which is pretty spectacular if you're coming from the city. It's pretty cool. Can I follow one of the vehicles? Let's follow this vehicle here and see how spectacular the drive is. There we go. Doesn't it look absolutely beautiful? A lot of work went into this, and I had to come up with a way of putting in the Eiffel Tower, but also to have a kind of road network around it or underneath it as a kind of an interchange to help with any potential traffic disasters. And it was absolutely spectacular, and it really works. And it really does work 100%. So it's pretty cool. Doesn't the drive up to the Eiffel Tower look spectacular and kind of awesome? Half you, Candy. There you go, absolutely beautiful, and you can see how vibrant and busy this place is. Let's go back into that view here. I am loving the shadows I put on here, although they're a little bit flickery. Bit of a shame. Unless you pause the game. But yeah, there you go. So this is the Eiffel Tower Interchange, and as you can see, these roads go underground. They kind of cross over each other, that kind of thing. But it's pretty spectacular, and as you can see, I came up with this beautiful little park design. Kind of cool. It mirrors on the other side, so this side looks like this side, which is kind of tricky to do. It looks like that. Absolutely beautiful. Got this kind of crazy little walkway here. I think this is kind of a neato design. There we go. Things look brighter from this side of town, don't they? So as you can see, a beautiful little park creation here. And then the subway hub, which is here. Looks kind of cool. Looks kind of beautiful. So what I wanted to do is have the Eiffel Tower kind of slap bang in the middle of an industrious looking little city. So I kind of achieved that, but I also wanted to have some beautiful gardens, so I kind of achieved that. And obviously I did a lot of whack-a-moling to get in these specific buildings here. In fact, the majority, I would say about 99% of all buildings here are now specifically placed by me. As you can see, if we go in here, I pick on any building, historical, any random building. Every single building was whack-a-mole by me. And there you go. So if you remember previously, if you was watching my series, a lot of the buildings had leveled up to the max. And they're all kind of looking kind of modern and ugly. They were all kind of looking like that. And it didn't look good at all, so I completely overhauled every single building. So moving back onto here, so this is kind of cool. I like the way this kind of goes out to this little park here, which then turns into this bit of a prom walk, which goes all the way along here. So it's kind of pretty, kind of beautiful. We'll get to the harbor later on, but let's carry on down here to Midtown. As you can see, it starts merging into suburbia. So yeah, this is vast suburbia. It's kind of pretty generic, but it's working, and it's working a lot better. If you remember, I had huge traffic issues, but I kind of realigned it all, and now it's working absolutely perfectly, and there's no problems with the traffic. And suburbia is nothing really much to write home about. It's just pretty much standard suburbia. So there we go. That's Suburbia. And then let's move over to Hillside Living. Why not? While we're here. So yeah, this is Hillside Living. Most of this was already implemented. If you remember, this is Turnwater. As you can see here, this is Turnwater Hill. This is based on a place in Seattle. And this is the Turnwater Hill Elementary School, because this is Turnwater Hill. And it looks like that. This is the exact street layout. Obviously, I've had to take a few liberties because I don't have the right mods or buildings, that kind of thing. But yeah, this is where the actual school is. Road layout is exactly the same. They have a baseball park here, and they have fields like this. So it's pretty cool. Go back into this view here. So yeah, this is kind of Hillside Living, a little community I put here. Pretty neato. So there we go. So let's move away from that community. Obviously, you got that little industrial center we got here. This moves over to one of my experimental builds, which is my hilltop town. Looks like that. It's kind of cool. And then another of my little beautiful park designs. It was kind of tricky coming up with a park design when it's going down a hill like that, but I kind of got away with it. So that's pretty cool. That moves along into here, which is part of the Grand Mall design, which we'll look into in a minute or two. But yeah, as you can see, this now starts turning into Canyon Hills. Now this is based on Los Angeles, predominantly Beverly Hills and Canyon Hills, which is why this looks like this. So the street layout and how the properties are placed is about, I would say about 80% exactly the way they do it in Canyon Hills. Although it's very tricky because I don't have any mods or the correct buildings. But what I wanted for this kind of area was to have the high flyers, the people that earn the big bucks, to be living in this kind of neighborhood. Which is why I got a lot of buildings that look like they're owned by people that earn the big bucks, as you can see right here. So it's definitely high affluent living, and it works pretty well. Pretty cool. And as you can see, I managed to place in a few unique buildings. So this is, what is this? This is the MAM, the Modern Art Museum. Kept it minimalistic with the design. And right over here, now this is this a mall? I think it's a mall. Yeah, apparently this is the posh mall, but if you use imagination, you can pretend there's something else like a theater or I don't know, a museum, something like that. Or a conference center, it could be anything you want. But it looks like that, and there's another beautiful little design. Kind of tricky trying to come up with a kind of a layered garden network. I think I was successful. I got a lower garden right down here, which is kind of cool. I like this neat little footbridge. Going over yet again one of my pretend ponds. And it's getting well used, this area. It's pretty cool. And as you can see, that slopes all the way down here through this lush vegetation into the football stadium, which I got here. Kind of cool. So there you go. That is all of my Hillside Living kind of neighborhoods. Pretty cool. So while we're here, let's follow this road here. This is the, I'm going to call this the Grand Mall and Strip Mall Avenues. Let's follow, you're going to turn, you're not. Let's follow this. There we go, we come out of it as you're turning kind of down there. As you can see, it looks a whole lot more spectacular from down here, doesn't it? It's kind of cool. So yeah, that's this is my kind of strip mall design, as you can see here. Now, I tweaked this around a little bit, but yeah, these are my pretend strip malls and my pretend parking lots, which we have at the side of all these strip malls. I'll go back into this view. Thank you. Looks a lot better like that. Pretty cool. Kind of like it. Obviously, I came up with lots of different park designs and placing down paths to look like the grass has been worn away by pedestrians. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And moving on from there, you can see the start or the beginnings of the Grand Mall. This is the Grand Mall, this whole area here. So that's the beginnings of that, but this hits into this kind of this part of the dog leg of the Grand Mall. This turns into a bit of a hospital area. Now, this design here came across when I was placing down lots of government service buildings to unlock one of the landmarks, and I kind of had a bunch of buildings like this, and I kind of liked the design, so I kept it. Pretty unusual design. It's kind of cool. But yeah, this is a little bit of a hospital neighborhood, as you can see here. I thought the Plaza of the Dead fits in pretty well with this area, but I'm imagining this is an angel and this has nothing to do with death at all. So that's why I've got that there, but it looks pretty cool. And then moving away from there, like I said, we got the football stadium here. And if you remember, I tried to do my detailing as representative of the actual building, which is why this looks like that. Zoom in, you can see a few little parks and garden detailing designs. And then I put in this little walkway to the parking lot, so you gotta use your imagination. This is a busy, vibrant working parking lot, which I've put down in layers. Now this level here, we got this level here, and we got this building here. We got this level here. Kind of cool. And then it comes out of here with the security gates, as you can see here. And here, there you go. So that is the football design, which is pretty cool. And from there, as you can see, I put a library here, but it goes back into high density buildings. Kind of fitting for the area. And then it eventually breaks out into one of the shopping malls, which we got here, which is kind of cool. Another neato design with more pretend parking lots. Pretty cool. And then this goes into another of my creative designs, which is my tennis arena. It's not exactly Flushing Meadow, but it's okay. It's pretty cool. And as you can see, yet again, I'm using my bleacher technique. So that's pretty cool. Got a little piece of industry there. And then what else we got? Oh, of course. Yeah, this is one of the original designs of my city. This kind of little educational area here. So I've kept this. It's pretty cool. What I decided to do was to turn this into some sort of palatial grand mall, as you can see here. So all of these buildings have got their own palatial, grand, exotic designs. So as you can see here, we've got City Hall. Here we've got the theater. Here we've got the oppression office. This is the tax office, and this is the Brandenburg Gate. This is the Amsterdam Palace, and this is the cathedral. So let's go into this view. We can get a better look at the exotic designs of gardens, which are here. There we go. So it looks like that. So my inspiration behind this was, well, it's about 99% inspired from me. So I do everything on the spot. I don't plan anything. It just comes to my head instantly. It's kind of crazy that I can come up with stuff like this. But I do have to admit that some of this is probably inspired by Austrian, Parisian, or British gardens, I guess. So I imagine this is what they look like. Kind of like this little design. It's kind of cool. This is for the Amsterdam Palace. And I think I came up with another maze at the back of here. Did I? I did. There we go. But this maze I decided to make with these hedges here. It's yet again, it's another working maze, but it's a different working maze, but it's pretty cool. And yet again, I managed to glitch in a water fountain inside this pavilion, which is kind of cool. And as per usual with me, I'm always glitching these statues together to see if I can come up with a different design, because this is the only statue we've got in the whole of the game, which is a bit crazy. There you go, that's the Amsterdam Palace. And then the cathedral, I thought I'd come up with a unique design, as you can see here. Now this is based on a location in the United Kingdom, who looks a little bit like that, but I thought I'd implement this design as part of the cathedral design. So as you can see, this is the shape of the cathedral. And these little, not exactly sure what you would call these, but these little pieces of architecture that span out from the cathedral, represented by these paths here. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, absolutely beautiful, spectacular design, I think. And as you can see, it kind of does a dog leg all the way down here. So that is the Grand Mall and the Strip Mall from above. It looks pretty cool. And then, of course, as you've seen a few little times, this is where the harbor is. And as you can see, I came up with some more unique designs. This is the Theatre of Wonders, and over there you should have the Opera House. And I thought these two kind of work well together. Oh, more unique designs. Pretty cool. It was kind of tricky to come up with something to place down here, but I think this is successful. All this here was originally here, but I kind of overhauled it. So this is kind of practically the same, especially with the school grounds. Yet again, more use of my crazy key wall hack. And as you can see, I got this crazy half-in network here, and it kind of works. It looks crazy, but it works. You got another subway station right down here. Kind of cool. So yeah, this is my harbor, which went through a huge overhaul, but it's now working. And as you can see, the ship traffic is a whole lot better. So it's pretty cool. As you can see, this is the water treatment plant. Kind of a cool design. And one of my very rare uses of this building here. The reason why I rarely use these buildings is because Overcharged Egg hates them. So that's why I don't put them in my city. Unless they kind of fit in. This kind of fits in just there. So there we go. And then moving over here, you can see we got the industrial cargo harbor, which is kind of cool. Which then leads to my water treatment waterfall. Which then leads to a few little shopping facilities and crazy half-in networks and interchanges. This is the Diamond About. So it's not a roundabout, it's not a traffic circle, but it's definitely a diamond about. And enough of my unique interchanges, which makes the traffic a whole lot better. And this is my other cargo station, as you can see here. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Which then leads into this path which goes all the way around here for a beautiful nature walk. tell you what, let me see if I can go for a walk. So let's see if we can walk from here. Not exactly sure if I can pull this off. So click on here, click on walk. Okay, perfect. Is it walking on its own? It is, but I can, oh, now I can freeform. Okay, interesting. Okay, so it's walking forward on its own. But I am controlling the camera. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, this is one of my nature walks, which leads up to one of my most craziest, wackiest buildings of all time. Here we go. We are definitely getting to the top of the mountain now. As you can see, those two little rock formations there, which kind of points out where we're going to. It's kind of cool. So yeah, the inspiration for this whole build was to find a way of placing down all the monuments, which are kind of garish. They are absolutely super big, and they don't fit into anybody's city. So I had to find a way of placing them, but also a way of hiding them. So I came up with this kind of Hawaiian crater design, which is practically, I don't know, maybe a superhero or supervillain boss layer, that kind of thing, which you can see right down here. Our way through here, the path is gone, and now we got the supervillain space age build. Kind of cool. Bit of a secret entrance, I guess. Somewhere which is not so secret. And there you go, we have arrived. Let's see if I can make it to the Eden Center, or the Eden Project, whatever you call it. Can I go through there? I'm not too sure. Oh, I can. Okay, perfect. Did not know that. Here we are. I can see the Eden Project. Let's make our way over the bridge. You can see a lot of people are using this area, so it's definitely a secret, not so secret base. And here we are, the Eden Project. We made it. Kind of cool, isn't it? So yeah, this is one of my wackiest, most spectacular builds. Come out of here. How do I come out of here? Like that. There we go. And let's do that. Again. There we go. Perfect. So it looks like that. Absolutely wacky, but it absolutely works. It's the best way I could think of to hide everything. And boy, is it well hidden. It looks like that. It's pretty cool. I like these buildings here. This is the I can't remember. It's a cathedral, isn't it? It's a cathedral of plenitude. And what is this? This is the Plaza of Transference. I think these work absolutely beautifully together. Kind of cool. So as you can see, a lot of these buildings are kind of gimmicky and they wouldn't really fit in with your town. So I decided to put in all my space age looking kind of buildings here. No idea what these are. You just got to pretend these are part of this maybe moon lunar base kind of setting. But there you go, absolutely beautiful, tricky build to do, but it kind of worked and it helped my city because all of these buildings here are kind of miniature hacks for making your city run absolutely smoothly. So there you go, that's the harbor and the Hawaiian Volcano Crater Superboss Lair. That's kind of a mouthful, isn't it? It looks like that, and then we come to the final part of my design, which is here. This is the Escobar International Airport, which is based on the Escobar International Airport, which is in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Absolutely spectacular, isn't it? Yet again, you got to use a lot of imagination because I don't have the exact buildings, but the road network is the same. Put all the tunnels in the same place. So there's a tunnel that enters here and comes out here. There's another tunnel over here somewhere. Here it is. Enters there, comes out there, or enters there, comes out there, that kind of thing. Everything is designed the same. Obviously, the airport's going to look different. This airport's going to look different, and I can't put in any parking lots. I've even included the billboard, which is my own pretend version. There's a billboard here in the original city. And all the trees are actually placed in the right place. There's the right amount of trees. And they're placed in the exact location as they're found in the game, which is why I've only got 2 trees here. If I had the chance, I would have went to town on detailing this, but I had to keep it as authentic as possible. But as you can see, we got the Fort Baxter Air Base, which is here. Doesn't really look like that, but the location is the same, and some of the buildings are placed in the same place. This is Little Havana, based on one of the suburbs of Vice City. Pretty cool. Got a hospital here. We got another little suburban community here. I placed this little water treatment plant here, but I've got it turned off because it just fits in well with the vibe of this area. This is the Escobar International Freight and Cargo. Yeah, that's what it is. Well done me for remembering, so that looks like that. It's pretty cool. And this is where it is in the actual game. And as you can see, all the buildings are placed in exactly the same place. They just look a little different. There's a few little things I've put in myself, like the helipad. And these things here, which are, yeah, they're a bit too big. If I could have them tiny, I would. But I kept them in there because they got this kind of, I don't know, aeronautical kind of vibe about them. So there we go. That's the Escobar International Airport, and it looks pretty cool. And as you can see here, we got the bug hub. It's called the bug hub because it looks like a bug. So if you watch my last episode, you'll see why it's called the bug hub. But yeah, there you go. So that is my only transportation hub for the whole city. I probably already said that. It's got 8 stops in total, and all the stops are being well used, as you can see right here. And here. But as you can see, they're working well, even though it looks like they're covering people. People really are getting collected. So that's pretty cool. And then let's go to the hello, Mr. Airplane. And let's go to the very last build of my whole entire city, which is this area here, which was the baseball park. Now, if you look closely at these little path designs here, these were the inspiration for what was going to be the design for the Posh Mall. So if you imagine the Posh Mall is in here, and this is going to be one of the layered stepped gardens, that kind of thing. So yeah, this was the inspiration, the actual design for the Posh Mall that we got over here. There you go. So that's why that looks like that. And I kind of like the path design, so I kind of changed it to gravel paths and kept it. And turned this into my second botanical garden. This is a smaller version, but it works pretty well. Pretty cool. Here I got 2 beautifully detailed medical centers, and then like I said, on the outskirts we got these beautiful suburbs, which are kind of cool. Got this one here, we got this one whizzing all the way along here. Pretty cool. Of course, we got the botanical garden, and then on this side we got a bit of a generic industry and forestry industry hugging the outskirts of the airport. It's pretty cool. We got this little hilltop community here with another kind of crazy looking designed traffic circle. And that pathing network that leads back into the International Freight Center, which is pretty cool. Now, if you look here, I put in a couple of interchanges that work really, really well, which kind of really helps with the traffic. So you got this one here, which leads into the airport, which is pretty cool. And we got this interchange here, It's a neat trick to put in this little turn here, which is, I'm going to call this the Tennessee turn. What it does, it stops traffic from going all the way around here and getting in each other's way. You can just cut through here. So it really does help out. And as you can see, these two busy streets run parallel with each other, and these two interchanges kind of help out each other. So it's a pretty unique, clever design on my part, and I will pat myself on the back for that one. It's kind of cool. Which leads to my final build, which was the baseball park, which is here. And boy, is that subway being used. So is that bus stop. It's kind of cool. But yeah, this is the baseball park. A few little commercial outlets. These are the main buildings of the baseball park. Let's watch that bus. There we go. Like I said, everything is working absolutely beautifully well. Apart from this driver. And this is the entrance to the baseball park. So it's pretty cool. This is where the concession stands are. These are the gates where you get in. Obviously, I'm using my bleachers trick where you put the hedges over the back of these picnic benches. This one's a little awry. Maybe I should straighten that one up. But I'll leave it like that. It's okay. Put in my pretend dugouts. This is the pitcher's mound, which is why it's raised up. Kind of cool. And this is the baseball diamond. Kind of tricky to do this. I was going to take away this half here, but I decided to leave it in because some baseball parks do have this kind of little dirt track around the edge. But yeah, it looks like that. Absolutely spectacular. And then I put on this park at the back here so you could watch the baseball from the park. It's kind of cool. Absolutely beautiful build. Obviously, I didn't get a lot of people viewing this because the kind of algorithms are messed up for everybody at the moment. So there you go. The final thing I didn't show you was the harbor, which is pretty cool. And as you can see, the inspiration for the harbor was just to try and find somewhere to put the Statue of Liberty, the London Eye, the aquarium. This is the Expo Center. And I've also placed the theater here, and then I put in another little harbor. This is working, so ships come back and forth using this, so it's pretty cool. So it looks like that. We got a bus service running up and down here, which is pretty spectacular. Lots of pretty little unique designs and detailing sessions, as you can see here. Pretty cool. This is where I finally placed the, what is this one called? This is called the Paradox Plaza. And to add to the vibe of the place, to make the place look absolutely beautiful and awesome, I put in a couple of these, I'm going to call these marinas and floating promenades, although the game calls them fishing islands, I think, and floating cafes. But yeah, I put one there, and I squeezed a whole bunch of them as close together as I could. And they look pretty cool. Looks like an awesome floating dockyard or marina. Pretty cool. There we go, folks. I think I'll leave you with this view because it looks absolutely spectacular. So yeah, there we go. Cliffside Bay is now complete. There's going to be no more building, no more detailing, no more stressing. It's all done. I'm going to be moving on to the next city somewhat sooner than later, I hope. What I will do is I will leave you with a few little cinematics to put on the end of this video. Then I'll make a separate video, which will be the whole full cinematic video that I shot a lot earlier. And I'm also going to splice in a few nighttime cinematics as I found out how to do that. But there you go, everybody. That was my long walkthrough and talk through of my city, which looks like that. Absolutely spectacular. It started off as a unique unlock challenge, and then it ended up becoming a real proper city. So in the meantime, folks, sincerely take care of each other. Have a really nice day. And I will see y'all
stranger? Why are you acting like a stranger? You've been missing from Earth lately, and I don't know if I can go on. Stranger, why are you acting like a stranger? You've been missing from Earth lately, and I don't know if I can go on. Why are you acting like a stranger? You've been missing from Earth lately, and I don't know if I can go on. Stranger, why are you acting like a stranger? You've been missing from Earth lately, and I don't know if I can go on.
strength.